Hi everyone, Kevin here. We are on the Why We Train podcast, episode 7 with Marc. Marc is a coach, our first coach on the episode, so I'm pretty excited. Marc has a story that probably most of you guys don't know, and it's really good to know his background because it is inspiring and why he does what he does and his passion and value that he's bringing to Boundless. So let's get started. Marc, you grew up with scoliosis, a severe case.
Yeah.
Can you start with what scoliosis is briefly for those who don't know and how you're impacted by scoliosis?
Scoliosis is a curvature of the spine. Everyone's spine curves naturally. Everyone's spine curves out and then in and out again. It's called kyphosis and lordosis. Scoliosis is a lateral curvature of the spine. So instead of curving in and out, it's curving to the side. Even that is not super abnormal. Everyone has some degree of curvature, maybe like 2 or 3 degrees. When it gets to a certain degree, that's when it's officially diagnosed.
Where are you in that spectrum, and what did they tell you about what you can or can't do growing up?
So it is a spectrum based on degrees from the center of your spine. Most people have a mild curvature. I personally have about as bad as you're going to find in today's modern age. So basically, when they're measuring it, they find out you have scoliosis at a young age. They monitor it as you're growing. As you get taller, there is a chance for it to get worse. If it gets to a certain degree, it's recommended you get surgery. Anything beyond 50 degrees, they don't give you a choice about surgery. I'm right at 50 degrees.
Wow.
So anywhere between 40 to 50, it's optional.
So you're right on the edge where you have to.
They gave me the option to. My mom actually has scoliosis too. It is genetic. She did go through this with the surgery. Hers was worse than mine, and it's given her a bunch of complications in everyday life. So seeing her and how much trouble she has moving daily, I decided to just tough it out. Like, there's people with much worse diagnoses than scoliosis. It's not a death sentence or anything. It's just mild inconvenience, mildly uncomfortable. The worse the curve is, the more uncomfortable it is, but it's not going to kill me.
With you at 50 degrees scoliosis on the verge of surgery, how does that affect your life? Does it affect twisting, turning, lifting, running, or sitting?
To an extent, since my spine is curved, my posture isn't always the greatest. It is something I always need to be conscious about. I do have a tendency to lean over to one side. In terms of fitness, it's not ideal. Since your spine is curved, you have a bunch of muscles attached to your spine. All those muscles are either stretched on one side or compressed on the other side, depending on where your curvature is. My curvature leans to the left. A little bit of hip displacement affects how you move. Since I have these stretched muscles, my center of gravity is off. It causes energy leaks as I'm moving. So that's my excuse for always coming in last place in the Boundless workouts.
So you mean energy leaks as in your ability to keep moving or lung capacity?
It affected my lungs as well. I did have a collapsed lung, spontaneous pneumothorax. That was officially diagnosed. My doctor believed it might have been caused from just being in a bad posture and my spine kind of pushing up on my lung and my lung popping. Little things like that aren't fun.
And you did mention before how having scoliosis, they advise you not to exercise or lift weights or do certain things. Can you tell us about that?
Lifting weights was a big no-no for me or my doctor, especially anything where your spine can be compressed. So back squats, deadlifts, overhead presses, those were always a big no-no. I didn't value exercising growing up. It caused complications as I grew up. My scoliosis wasn't gonna get any worse. I got the okay from my doctor to start lifting weights. I didn't know what I was doing, didn't have the best program. Since I was already at a slightly weaker foundation, it caused a bunch of other complications. I did stick with that recommendation of not really back squatting, deadlifting, all the stuff that strengthened your core under heavy loads. I never did. What that ended up doing is as I got older, since my core was so weak, it caused my spine to compress even more. Basically resulted in multiple herniated disc, sciatica, a lot of fun stuff.
Sciatica, herniated disc.
Yeah. I mean, it all generated from scoliosis. It's been a journey. There were points in my life where I couldn't run at all. I remember trying to run even a quarter mile, and the pain was just like unbearable shooting down my right leg. I used to get out of bed and just lay on the floor just to try to take pressure off my spine as possible on a daily basis, not even exercising or anything. I was like having trouble getting through the day. I would take multiple Advils pretty much every single day just to get through a work day.
It seems like I would be deterred from exercising. Why would I do something that could make it worse when I'm already in pain and having issues?
Yeah.
So can we talk about how you overcame that? What made you like, you know what? I don't want to live this way. I'm going to start building my core.
I was always told by my doctor that anything that causes pain, I should avoid doing. Deadlifts, all that stuff that's developing your core. Since it did cause me pain, I wouldn't do it. And then slowly over time, my workouts regressed to basically nothing.
Because everything gave you pain.
So any kind of heavy load, even bench press at some point, I was working with weights I could probably do for 20 reps, but just doing them for 8. What got me out of that? It had a lot to do with you.
Cool, love to hear it.
Yeah, so I actually distinctly remember the day I met you. It was 3 days after the end of a 7-year relationship for me. It was a Tuesday morning, middle of March 2022.
Wow, you know it to the day
It
and the time. I
was
do
very
remember
meaningful
that.
for me, man.
I do remember that. I remember David, hey, is it okay if my friend comes? He's going through a hard time. And then we were working out, and I remember you were just opening up, even though it was our first time meeting, you really opened up to me, and yeah, I do remember that day.
I probably opened up more than I normally do because I was in a bit of shock. But I just want to say really quick, I'm sure I'm not the first person to tell you this, but you have such a special way with empowering people and lifting people up. So we talked that day, maybe like 15, 20 minutes. Told you everything that I was going through. And honestly, like that conversation is sticking with me today. I honestly think it changed my life, changed how I view the world. My entire life, I felt like a victim. I was scared to push myself, scared to see what I was capable of. And you really empowered me that day and changed my vision from feeling weak to testing what I'm capable of, and just the idea that everything I've gone through in life has put me in a position to learn and grow, basically. After I met you that day, I started coming to some of the Boundless workouts. I wasn't super consistent just because I never really lived directly in the area. But yeah, it's coming out, testing what I was capable of, testing my limits, and they were a lot of fun. There was one workout that really blew my mind. You programmed power cleans for us. The whole concept of power cleans was something I could never imagine doing.
Yeah.
The hip hinge motion alone scared the crap out of me just because of my back. Having that weight come back and smack you in the chest was a big no-no. I wasn't gonna look weak in front of everyone. So I gave it a shot. It probably wasn't the best idea for someone in my condition, but I was gonna push through it no matter what. I was sore as hell for a week, but what it did do for me is basically prove to myself that movement I was so terrified of, something I never thought I would be able to do, is possible.
If I knew the severity of your condition, I wouldn't have had you do that.
I wasn't gonna say no. I was in a mindset where I didn't care.
It did rewire something that's like, no way, I'm never gonna do that, to I did it and I'm okay.
Yeah, yep. It was a light bulb moment.
So after that workout, the power cleans, you were sore for a week, and that light bulb came up of, hey, something I never thought I would do, I did it and I'm okay. And then from there was that the turning point of, you know what, I am going to start training and not be afraid anymore.
I put a lot of time into doing research into my condition, how to improve it, what exercises are best. It is something I've learned on my own. There was a lot of trial and error, a lot of mistakes being made, especially in the condition that I was. Like, it's natural for those nerves to get pinched every once in a while. The condition will flare up. But over time, I did see a lot of progress, being a lot more comfortable in a lot of the lifts that I was terrified of.
So during that time, you build up confidence and acceptance that this is my condition. I'm gonna work through it. I'm gonna make mistakes, but I'm gonna keep working through it.
That empowerment.
I remember you were a whole different physique when I first met you. Now you look like, yeah, this guy works out.
Thank you.
We wouldn't have guessed that you went through all that
For sure.
trauma in a way. During that time, you've learned a lot, and now you're a coach. You became a personal trainer at a global gym, and you got all your certifications and all that. So you definitely found a passion towards fitness from what you were afraid of, and then now actually becoming passionate. Can you talk about that?
Yeah. Just realizing what each body is capable of kind of opened my eyes to wanting to help other people. I took the time to get certified in a bunch of different specializations. The one most meaningful to me has been corrective exercise. It's something I've been implementing with a lot of my clients from EOS and then transferring over to private training. So what corrective exercise is, basically injury recovery and prevention. Strengthening weak points in the body, generally that's going to be your knees, hips, back, shoulders. A lot of my clients from EOS do have some kind of injury, surgery, or movement issue from lack of movement throughout their lives. That's something I've specialized in.
I'm sure it's relatable because you came from all that, and then now rebuilding. From my years of coaching, that is very common to even people that may or may not know until they come here.
Yep.
Knee problems, hips. A lot of people have back problems. It's not always your lower back. It's probably weak hips or hamstrings.
It's a whole
such.
kinetic chain.
Right. So that corrective exercise is now focusing on those weak points.
A lot of times, those weak points influence people to not want to exercise and push themselves because it's scary to deal with injuries. You never know when that's going to pop up.
So learning from your experience, certifications, and personal training with corrective exercise, you are now bringing that into Boundless.
Yep.
Can you tell us about core control and why you chose that as this is what I want to bring to the community?
A traditional workout program, it's very simple. It'll hit the big muscle parts, squats, deadlifts, presses, stuff like that. What I wanted to bring to Boundless in core control is really focusing on those smaller body parts that you might not get to hit on a regular basis. So adductors, abductors, hip stuff, shoulder mobility is a big one, and just core in general. Core is not just your abs, it's a whole 360 degree around your trunk. So it includes your obliques, lower back, or back in general.
People may or may not know how useful it is just having a stronger core and mobility in shoulders, knees, hips. Everything else can change and will be improved.
I really believe the stuff in my class will make you a better mover, better athlete, stronger in a lot of the stuff we're doing at Boundless, stronger person in general.
People get injured for the dumbest things. You'll reach for the car seat, and as soon as you reach here, and it's just like, Those are the little muscles, the core pieces. People may or may not train. Those are the injuries.
I remember I used to strain my back all the time, just reaching for something in my back seat. When I would try to open a door with my leg, always straining my adductors. Little things like that, you don't realize how valuable those muscles are in everyday life. Not everything is perfectly weighted even on the ground. All you have to do is pick it up or press it over your head without rotating your body.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I try to incorporate.
How do you apply that in your own training?
The stuff we do in core control is not a substitute for traditional strength training or all the stuff that Kevin's programming. I personally incorporate the stuff that I do about twice a week. Mm-hmm. The schedule that we have right now is perfect, just having it twice a week. But there's no substitute for traditional strength training. You're probably not going to get crazy strong from the stuff that we're doing in my class, but you will be a better mover.
Better mover, and it will enhance everything else, and injury prevention and recovery.
Yep.
Someone came last week. He has a herniated disc. His doctor says to ease in, focus on core, build that up, and don't go crazy. For people in that condition, this is what they need. Even people with back problems, aches, knees, hips, abductors, this is what they need. Not getting strong in the general sense, but your foundation is your core.
When I say not getting strong, you're not gonna be able to bench 225 just from like coming to my class alone. You're not gonna be squatting heavy loads, but it'll make you a better mover in everyday life.
Mm-hmm. In our regular Boundless class, we focus on the main lifts and a bunch of other stuff, but if you add in your core control, injury prevention is just enhanced. A lot of new people come in, they're always worried about their back. I'm afraid I don't want to hurt myself. If you build that foundation in your core, then coming into Boundless, you are in a much better position to do everything without having that fear because you've built that foundation.
Absolutely. I don't even think twice anymore about heavy deadlifts or anything I used to be terrified of. If I can do it with my messed up back, anyone can do it.
No, I appreciate you telling your story because it's actually a very inspiring one because you came from having this huge setback on the verge of the doctor almost saying you have to have surgery. Don't do anything that caused you pain, which almost everything caused you pain. You said at a point where I can't do anything because even rolling out of bed caused me pain. So you just didn't do anything. To the point of something switch and started taking matters to your own hands. And I'm not saying advisable that if you have a condition that just go do it anyways and go against doctor's orders, but you also don't want a victim mindset.
Yep.
You want to take things into your own hands if you can in a safe way, and of course with medical professional advice would be great, but you've went through it and took courses to learn.
Right.
From your experience taking certs and courses, becoming a personal trainer, you've developed the knowledge and skill set to fix your setbacks,
Yeah.
now your ability to do that for others.
If you're scared of moving, scared of testing yourself, just take baby steps and keep pushing yourself, keep testing your limits, and you never know where that could take you.
Cool. Love it, Mark.
Cool.
Thank you so much for sharing. I think that's it. Anything else you want to say?
No, not really. Core control, Tuesday, Thursdays, 8:30. Come out sometime. It'll be a good time.
Yeah, no, this is Mark's passion and specialty, corrective exercise. You do personal training and help people that are in that space that's
Right.
coming from injury or has some kind of limitations or issues or maybe even fear of adding load.
For sure.
So this is another value that's bringing to Boundless. If you or your parents or someone you know lives nearby, Marc is the guy. He knows more of that than I do. He's here, he's available, and the good thing is he's passionate about it. You went through it firsthand, so you understand. You have that compassion of, I know what you're going through, let's help you through this.
Definitely.
I can see that with you coming into Boundless and how much passion you bring into it. I'm glad that we're doing this so people know where you're coming from and where your heart is.
Yeah, it really does feel like a full circle moment for me to come from the place of fear, testing my limits, growing personally and physically, and being able to offer that to others. It's been a dream. Thank you.
Thank you, Marc. Thank you. And I didn't even know how influential that first meeting was until now, but thank you.
I didn't want to bring it up until now, but
Okay.
yeah,
I appreciate it, Marc.
it changed my life, man. So thank you.
Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time or in his class, Core Control.
Thank you.
Fight.